Devon!
Ash Williams!
Jazz! We are both in London, but several streets separate us, so we are having a Skype call. I was wondering, do you want to talk about Poland's Alice and her win on Chance for Success?
Yes, and are you ready to talk about Alice and her chances, or her victory rather, on Chance of Success?
Let's do this! Debin, our girl Alice is a winner. She topped both the jury vote and the televote, and she's also a two-time winner of two other shows, Hit Hit Hurrah and The Voice of Poland. That is no joke.
Voice. She won The Voice.
Well, it's not surprising. Let's actually start with that voice. Her voice is everything.
Mmm. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yes, William. Yes.
Dark, mysterious, melodious. She's only 17, but she carries emotion very, very well. I thought I was listening to, like, not Celine Dion, but like a seasoned performer. Someone who is far older than 17 because she really carried it.
And so is the subject matter. I mean, like ashes to ashes and dust to dust. I mean, it's kind of a weighted empire, isn't it? It's got a lot of, it's dense. You know, when I was watching her sing, wow, yeah, there's a very mature flavor here.
You know, with that maturity comes this intensity. When she was singing the whole time, she was feeling every single note. And the best part is obviously the very ending. It goes silent, and I'm like, is she done? Oh, wait, she's done. But then she comes back.
Just like, just to get some breath, some air, to then power through the final note.
It is a powerful note, very James Bond. A lot of people.
Again, offsetting hooverphonic. I mean, James Bond. It seems as if some countries have got a memo, a brief, which is like, okay, we need you to score the next Daniel Craig blockbuster. It's very James Bond.
Yeah, she does it well. Let's just clarify quickly. You brought up the lyrics. I actually reached out to the songwriter, Fraser Mack. He, of course, was behind She Got Me. Laurel Barker is also a co-writer of this. Again,
Barker,
yes,
she worked on this.
Laurel Barker, Fraser Mack, and also the team behind the Junior Eurovision wins for Poland. I don't have the name in front of me, but they all worked on this song. The song could be taken.
Too many books.
The song could be taken thematically as, in our pursuit of development, we're ruining the world, empires fall. The Roman Empire, the Greek Empire, great civilizations advancing, and then things go wrong. That could apply to climate change. That could apply to the state of politics in the United States. I mean, there are many ways to read this, but it's about empires falling is the point. But our girl, Alice, she builds this.
Quite non-directional. I mean, not looking down. There's fool's gold in our eyes. I do question some of the lyrical structure. Burning an empire happens so easy, playing with fire, maybe it's you and me, maybe it's our fault, rise and fall. It's interesting choices.
One thing, her outfit was very businesswoman chic, and I think it fit with the idea of empires. This was a woman in the boardroom, running the meeting, a woman in the White House. She was a baller, a boss. And I think it goes to that whole idea of ambition, pursuit, development. She was really embodying the theme of empire with that look.
Clearly, she got the early brief of Eurovision's Next Top Model about the Woman in Control week, because that is going to be the setting for that week. Woman in Control. What I will, what I will say is that Alice, I give it. She's got an incredible voice, a voice that I'll never have even 100 years from now. She clearly can sing. But whilst you have lots of singers that make singing seem so easy, there is a toil to her, how she belts out. You get a sense of how difficult it is. It's not fluid. It's just like really trying. And with a song that is just really padded with very wordy lyrics and enunciation issues, I think Poland will need to call on its diaspora to sail through this time.
I'd point out a few things. One, I don't think this studio setting benefits anyone. This is not a complete stage like we had in Lithuania. It's certainly, not like a stage we have in Sweden. You know that you're in a tiny studio. I think, so there's no mystery, no mystique. You can't really create an atmosphere. Second, having the lyrics on the wall behind them for this show really killed whatever atmosphere she could have built, because she was great. She brought the drama in her face and her attitude, but because of the studio with like the lyrics behind you on a red wall, it really took the audience and the viewer out of the magic. Yeah, and so I think it's hard to assess this one, because if this were on a stage like in Lithuania or like in Sweden, you would have felt something, I think. You would have got the vibe a bit more.
I think it's a fair point about the studio setting having a lot of restraint, because Lake Malawi, who came second in this competition, Lucy was quite muted. I felt that, Albert couldn't really dance on that plinth. And whilst Alice's song doesn't really call for much in terms of movement, the expression I felt was also somewhat held back and emphasized in areas where it was just about vocal power. Vocal power she's got. I don't think that's ever in dispute. But Eurovision, as we know, is a much broader package. And you raised another point about the writing on the wall. I kind of like that, because I tell you what, I couldn't understand what she was singing. I really couldn't decipher and extract the words. And having that writing on the wall helped me a lot in terms of forming an opinion on the song. Having said that, she's absolutely fantastic at presenting. Yeah. Did you see the Eurovision.tv clip where she was talking about her clip and stuff like that?
Great personality.
Great personality. She's very, very expressive, which is great, because that can lend to acting and entertainment generally. But when it comes to music, even though she can sing, it's not the sort of singing that I respond to. I love my, divas with big voices, Lidita Halimi, El Haidardani, Jonida Malici.
Aneta Tarifa.
Who else is belting out in that,
Kaja Mas.
I like my big divas singing big numbers, but then they also need to have songs that I'm going to warm to, and they also need to kind of emote and ease about it. And Empires feels and sounds like a really difficult song to sing. Yeah?
Yeah, no, I definitely take your point. I think that staging is going to be absolutely crucial here. Kaja Moss's staging, I thought, something dark. This needs to have something to give it more atmosphere. Because right now, I'm just thinking of the red lights in that studio, but with smoke, with darkness, you can match the darkness of her voice. And then it becomes really interesting.
Yeah. And I agree. And another thing which I will say is that the beauty of doing the Skype call that we're doing right now is that it's not a first reaction where you and I are holding off from hearing the songs. So prior to actually connecting with you on Skype, I heard the song about 4 to 6 times, and it actually got better. So I think it lacks immediacy, but when you hear it again and again, you start to kind of warm to it a little bit. And I think in the run-up to Eurovision, with good enough promotion, it could really just slip in.
We need to remember this was the first time she performed it live. She's only 17. This wasn't a Polish language song. This is an English language song that was new to her.
Oh, she's perfect English though. She
Yes, but
does
what
speak
I'm
really.
saying is, to your point about repetition, between now and Eurovision, this is only going to improve. Because I think, like, look at Blanche
Yeah,
from Belgium a few years ago. She was so nervous at all the pre-parties, even during Eurovision rehearsals, but then she peaked at the right time, and she turned it up when it counted. And I think with Alice, we might see something similar. You know, it may not be the most stellar at this point, but she's going to turn it up when it matters. And frankly, that is during semi-final 2 in the first half. Okay, that's when it counts.
it is also concerning. Let's not forget Slovenia has come with a similarly big, woman singing, but I guess Poland has got youth on its side. In terms of tweaking recommendations, I will just say that there needs to be it needs to flow a bit more. There needs to be more fluidity. It needs to kind of come from within. At the moment, it's coming from here, and it needs to just vocally. She's completely on point.
Yeah.
I think this is great. I mean, she won the Voice of Poland. I didn't even know that, and clearly, she can sing. But it's Eurovision is a lot more, and I would quite like. I like the writing on the wall because it really centered. It really centered what the song was trying to communicate.
I could see her against a backdrop of skyscrapers, Gotham, New York, clouds, mist, the sky. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm getting something urban, a pollution narrative, something. I think there's a lot to work with here, and they're going to need to work with it because this needs to be more dynamic. I think that with staging, they can make it more dynamic. Because for me at the moment, it's very much in the vein of kind of another James Bond ballad. And granted, there's a lot of diversity within James Bond ballads, but I think they need to mix this up a bit because at the moment it's not high impact enough, even though there are lots of high notes.
It's interesting when you think of James Bond ballads. I automatically think of Conchita versus Rise Like a Phoenix as being my preferred number. When you talk about skyscrapers in the background, I kind of think of Gettajani's Rockefeller Street as being my favorite. Every category I put this in, I have other favorites. And, but Poland does have a diaspora that loves it. And if it's not in the same semi-final as some of the very similar numbers.
Well, that's what we think. What do you think? Does Poland have a shot at making the final? Do you agree with some commenters on YouTube that this could win it all? Let us know here on wiwibloggs.
Yeah, be sure to add your comments down below. Like, subscribe, and check out Poland as she journeys. Beautiful Alice to Rotterdam 2020.
And we'll see you later. Bye!
Bye.